I'm the Mythology Guy, and I just saw Eternals, the newest Marvel movie. Now, obviously, I'm going to start with no spoilers and then go into spoilers later, for anyone who doesn't know how I do this. Now, going into this, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't all that excited. The trailer for this was kind of a nothing trailer, which is fine. That way it doesn't spoil anything. And, you know, I think Marvel knows at this point everyone's going to watch their movies. So their trailer is more like, hey, here's the new movie and when it's coming out, rather than, oh, we got to get people hyped for this. They're just like, yeah, people are going to watch it. Let's just let them know the release date. That's all we really have to tell them. And, you know, it's fine, because that way, you know, it's more fun to go into movies spoiler-free, in my opinion. Also, I have never read the Eternals comics. I knew nothing about these characters going in. So that's me going into this movie. I wasn't particularly excited, especially because, like, I saw some people praising it online, but literally the only things people were praising, like, people would say, oh, this movie's amazing because it has multiracial and multilingual characters, and I was like, you didn't really say anything about the movie, so I don't know what to think. So yeah, I go into this, I bring Will to, neither of us know what to expect. We're like, hopefully it'll be good. We saw it, and we had a lot of fun. I think this is a good movie. I don't get why it has such a low score, honestly. I don't get why some people are shitting on it so much. Now, I mean, to be fair, like, the story doesn't feel like anything amazing. It's a little different from other Marvel movies. This one focuses more on the big space, like, godly stuff, like the Celestials and stuff like that. So it's a little different, but yeah, the story is nothing awesome. But you know what I thought was awesome? I really liked the characters in the film. Also, the action was a lot of fun, and the comedy was a lot of fun. And I feel like those are the three main things you need to get down in a Marvel movie these days, because we know Marvel movies are going to hit certain beats. We know it's all going to build up to a certain thing. So, and one thing Marvel is good at most of the time is making you like the characters and care about the characters, and I think this movie does a good job of that. And yeah, on top of that, the action is fun, and we laughed several times watching this film, especially at a character named, what was his name again? Karun. Karun is the best character in the movie, and he's not even an Eternal. I love Karun. I want to see more of him. I want to see more of him, Marvel. But yeah, like, yeah, very charming characters. So there's 10 Eternals, and then there's Karun and Kit Harington. I even liked Kit Harington's character, even though he's barely in the film. At first I was surprised. I was like, what a waste of Kit Harington, but then it turns out it's because, like, he's likely going to be in future films. I won't give it away. But, like, this wasn't really his film. This was for the Eternals, and there's 10 Eternals. So there's, first of all, we have Icarus. Obviously, why am I talking about this movie? It's myth-related. We have Icarus, the strongest Eternal, who is Superman. He's just Superman. He has super strength, flight, and laser eyes. Those are his powers. He's the most powerful of all the Eternals. Then we have their leader, Ajax, which I don't know if that's supposed to reference Ajax, but if so, it doesn't make any sense at all, because she's nothing like Ajax. Like Icarus, I guess, you know, is a reference because he can fly and stuff, and he shoots lasers, so I guess sun, you know. And there's also something that happens with his story, but I won't give it away. Yeah, so the leader of the Eternals, Ajax, she has the ability to heal. Then we have Cersei, who's basically our main character. Cersei has the power to change one thing into a different thing, a lot like Cersei from Greek mythology, only completely different in the way that in this movie, she can't transform sentient beings, whereas in mythology, Cersei only transformed sentient beings. Then number 4, we have Sprite, the little girl. Sprite has the power to create illusions, and obviously Sprite, you know, sprites in mythology are pixies, so that's why she's short and has like a pixie hairstyle, literal pixie cut. So yeah, that's the reference there. Then Number 5, we have another one I really like. We have Festus, who's obviously a reference to Hephaestus. He has technology powers, just like Hephaestus would. I really like what they do with his technology powers in this. It's pretty cool. Like they get really creative like with it sometimes. It's cool to see we never really see a god with technology powers, and Hephaestus is perfect for that. Then, number 6, we've got Kingo, the Indian one, who has, like, powers to shoot energy balls that, like, explode. He's so much fun, by the way. I love this guy. And I like his power. That's a power we don't see a lot from superheroes. I don't know who his name is referencing, though. Kingo, I believe that was his name. Am I correct? Yeah, Kingo. So yeah, if you guys know who that's referencing, please let me know. I really want to know who Kingo is supposed to be referencing. All right. And yeah, he's so much fun in the movie. I love him. Then we've got Athena, who is a reference to Athena, obviously. She has the power to create weapons and use them. This is the Angelina Jolie character. She's a badass. She's awesome. Though she didn't have... No, she had a good amount of badass moments. There's just a scene or two where I wish she had been fighting, but she wasn't. But there was a reason for it, so I guess, okay. Then we've got Gilgamesh. They didn't even change anything about the name. You know who Gilgamesh is. This is the Asian guy, and he's awesome. He's got super strength, basically, and I loved watching him fight. It was so much fun to watch him fight. Then number 9, we've got Druig, who is, I'm guessing the name is a reference to druids, which are Celtic, like, sorcerers. Yeah, he has the power to mind control people. And then finally, number 10, so many characters in this film, and yet I remember them, so that's pretty cool. We've got, I believe her name was Makari. This is a deaf girl with super speed. Now, I'm again, not sure what the name is referencing. It could be Makaria from Greek myth, but that wouldn't really make sense, because Makaria, I don't think, has anything to do with super speed. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe it's another mythology. But yeah, her power is so much fun. There's a particularly awesome fight scene where we get to see Super Speed Girl using her power to beat somebody up, and it's so much fun to watch. It's cool. She does like sonic booms and shit. She's like it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love watching that scene. So yeah, you got 10 characters. I remember their names for the most part, and you know, I had a good time with all of them. I didn't want any of them to die. Now, there are character deaths in this movie. I'm not going to say who, but one of them in particular, actually, like, I was really bummed about. Like, Wilda and I, we were both going, no! When that character died, and we weren't happy about it. We were like, no! So, yeah, like, I think that's a good thing about the movie. It like, we cared, you know? We didn't want to see characters die, unlike garbage like Halloween Kills, where I wanted everyone to die because you're all idiots. I might talk about that movie in the future. God, I'm still not over how bad that film was. But yeah, so yeah, the basic premise is the Eternals fight the Deviants. The Eternals were created by the Celestials to battle the Deviants, which are killing people on Earth. And yeah, a long time ago, they kind of retired and broke up. Oh, there's a hair in my mouth. But nowadays, like, obviously, if you've seen the trailer, yeah, the Deviants are back and they have to regroup and fight them. And yeah, like I said, they all have pretty charming, fun personalities. Like, my personal favorite Eternals, or like, I just loved how badass Gilgamesh was, and I loved how much fun Kingo was. Those are probably my favorite ones. Thena was pretty darn cool, and here's the thing though, I do have some questions. Like, Sprite and Druig's powers are practically worthless against the Deviants. I feel like their powers are mainly for the humans, like, to help them in certain ways. Because, like, yeah, even in the opening fight scene, Sprite and Druig aren't even in it. They're still on the ship just until the fight's over. Also, Makari with super speed is deaf. Now, I mean, cool. Like, to see a deaf superhero, there's nothing wrong with that. What I do find a little weird about it, story-wise, though, is these guys were all created by the Celestials. I question why a Celestial would create a deaf Eternal. Like, wouldn't that make them, like, I don't see how that gives them an edge in a fight. Like, their whole purpose is to kill the deviants, so I don't know why he would want one of the Eternals to not be able to hear. I don't fully understand that. If you guys have a reason, please let me know. Now, one thing I really want to say about this movie is I feel like this is the right way to do representation. You've got 10 characters, several of them different races, one of them, like, even with a disability, and, you know, there's also some gay representation in this movie, too. And I've always thought, totally fine. I actually like seeing more different cultures represented. Obviously, I'm the mythology guy. I'm all about all these different cultures. I like seeing people of different races put in a way that makes sense. Like, you know, instead of, like, if you wanted to, like in Gods of Egypt, where you take gods who are from Africa and you make them all freaking British, what's going on there? Or, like, if you wanted to take, let's say, Celtic gods and make them all Asian, that wouldn't make any sense. But I think it's fine here because they're all aliens that were created by an alien. And on top of that, the movie doesn't shove it in your face. They don't go, look what we did. Look, this guy's Asian. Look, this guy's black. Look, this guy, and just have the characters always talking about their race or talking about their sexuality. Like, as if, I'm sick of movies or shows where you take a character, like, you make him, let's just say you make him gay, and that's it. We did it. We have a gay character now. No, the gay character in this movie has a personality, has a character. I really like him. I understand, like, I feel like I understand the way he thinks as opposed to how the others think. Like, that's wonderful. Like, you have these characters who have their own personalities and don't just talk about, like, to shove it down the audience's throat, hey, look, I'm Asian, or any stupid crap like that. You have an Asian character who's a lot of fun to watch. Like, our main character is a good main character. Oh, but honestly, I prefer the Gilgamesh character just because he's so fun to watch. I love him. And I like the Festus character, who is a black guy. And yeah, like, I like... Oh god, I'm slurring my words, but I think you guys get the point of what I'm saying, is you have good characters who just happen to have these, like, races or these sexualities or whatever. And yeah, so if... I don't understand why anyone would, like, if somebody gets mad that there's a gay character in this film, they're like, oh, they're shoving it down, or they're not. Okay, they're not. This is not Black Christmas 2019, where all this stupid garbage was shoved down our throats. There are movies that don't do it right. There are movies that shove it down your throat. There are movies that just include a character with that trait and go, we're done. That's all the writing we need for that character. This movie does neither of those things. They give these characters individual characteristics that make them unique and make them interesting and make me want them to live. I love that. So, yeah, I think they're doing it right. And that's one thing that makes me a little bummed that this movie is not seemingly being super well received, because I think this is kind of a good example of how to handle things like that. Okay, what else was I gonna say? There was something else I wanted to touch on, and now I can't remember what the heck it was. I got too busy talking about that one subject. Shoot. Oh, dang it. This movie has a mid-credits scene and a post-credits scene, so if you want to see everything, you gotta stay through the whole thing. The mid-credits scene has some truly bad CGI. I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa, am I watching a CW show? What happened to the CGI? Like, yeah, I was really surprised by that. I didn't expect the CGI to be that bad in the mid-credits scene. This movie is also setting up things. Obviously, I don't want to give away the ending right now, but it's setting up, like, potentially, you know, that I think the Marvel universe is obviously going to open up and have a lot more. I mean, there's Celestials in this movie. You know, like, things are going to get bigger now. And yeah, with these god tier... Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about. With these god tier Eternals, that's another big thing. Now, one thing also that I find a little strange, though, is... So in this movie, they say that these Eternals inspired the legends of gods that we know today. Like, obviously, Athena inspired Athena, Gilgamesh inspired Gilgamesh, and yada yada yada. So it's like, oh, I guess none of the mythological gods in this universe were real. I guess they were inspired by these guys. But here's the thing, I have read some Marvel comics, and I know there are some mythological gods actually in them. And also, we know that in the next Thor movie, he's gonna meet some actual mythological gods. So I wonder exactly how it's all gonna fit together. I've heard Zeus is gonna be in the next Thor movie. So are they saying in this universe, Zeus is real, but Athena isn't, because Athena is Thena, who isn't the daughter of Zeus? I really wonder how this is all going to fit together. I mean, granted, Marvel's never been accurate. The Thor movies are not even close to how Norse mythology actually goes. So, yeah, I personally don't know. Yeah, some people got upset with the whole, like, oh, since they're saying these gods inspired the mythological gods, they're saying the mythological gods don't actually exist, and they're breaking, like, the concept of mythology. It's like, guys, this is just the Marvel universe. It doesn't apply to reality. It's just like how God of War is its own universe. These are Elseworld stories. Like, you know, we're not going to Marvel movies or the Thor games for a ton of not Thor games, God of War games, for a ton of mythological accuracy, are we? If we are, I think we have a problem. I mean, have you played the first 3 God of War games? Those aren't accurate at all. Did you see the 3 Thor movies? Those aren't accurate at all. like, I don't think we're looking for mythical accuracy in these. So, yeah. If it was a series that is touting itself as mythologically accurate, I could understand being upset, but I don't think this is something to be upset about. So yeah, I had fun during this movie, I enjoyed the action, I really enjoyed the comedy, and I really enjoyed the characters. So I think that's enough to say, this is a good movie. I'm probably going to be in the minority in saying that, because I've either seen people just shitting on the film or people praising it only because of the multicultural aspect, which is not, like, if a movie only has that going for it, that doesn't make it a good movie. But this movie has that in addition to other things, so it's a good mix, and I like it a lot. So I would give this movie probably an 8 out of 10, actually. I really liked it. Oh, and there's something they do with the deviants, but maybe I should talk about that in spoilers. Okay, I'm gonna go into spoilers now. Let me know what you thought of the film, or if you disagree with anything I've said. Okay, so going into spoilers, 3, 2, 1, go! I was so bummed when Gilgamesh died. I know he didn't have a ton of screen time or anything, but they did give him character, and, like, there's this touching scene between him and Athena, where she talks about how he always takes care of her. Some people might get offended. Are you saying Athena needs taken care of? Guys, a person is a person. Everybody sometimes needs somebody. But yeah, Gilgamesh seemed like a really sweet, really wonderful, really honorable, and really badass character. When he got stabbed in the neck, like, I was saying in the theater, no! I didn't want him to die. I didn't care when Ajax died, because, like, I mean, Ajax just kind of felt a little like generic leader character, but it's fine. Like, she served her purpose. I was bummed when Gilgamesh died, though. I was so bummed. I was like, no. And we thought Athena was gonna die later in the film, and we were saying no to that as well, because we didn't want Athena to die either. Yeah, so, obviously the big twist in this movie turns out to be, the Celestial put them on Earth to stop the Deviants because the Deviants were eating people, because the Celestial actually needs there to be a whole ton of people, because there's a baby Celestial in the Earth that can only be born by absorbing the life forces of, I guess, everybody on Earth, which means Thanos was actually doing a good thing by wiping out half the population because he was delaying that. So they even say that. They say Thanos delayed it, then the people brought them all back, and now it's happening. Honestly, I feel bad for the Celestial that was just trying to be born that ended up getting, I guess, killed. It got turned to stone by Cersei, and now I guess billions of lives that could have been born won't be born. I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, you have to sacrifice something. Like, you can't just have it turn out wonderful for everybody. Like, there's not going to be a way, oh, we can get the Celestial out of the Earth and make it live without destroying the Earth. It'd be too convenient. You have to make a choice. You have to do something. So I guess that's totally fine. And then this movie, like, I remember after seeing that, I was like, there's no way the Celestial who made them is just going to let that slide. And he doesn't. He shows up at the very end and grabs them and is like, no. We're going to, like, judge you. We're going to see what we're going to do with you. You fracking killed a Celestial. Yeah, and then in the mid-credits scene, after the terrible CGI character shows up, we've got the brother of Thanos, who I guess is Eros. I didn't know this. Eros is Cupid in Greek mythology, for anyone who didn't know. So Eros is played by Harry Styles. Oh no. I don't know what to think about that. I'll be honest, I'm not like, about it. I'm just like, what? Whatever. We'll see what happens with that. I'm glad Kit Harington, it turns out, like, at the end, like, he's actually the Black Knight, so I guess he's gonna get his own film in the future, which is great. I love Kit Harington. I'd love to see more of him. What else yeah, what they do with the deviants. So they have kind of an interesting concept with the deviants, like the Eternal says, at one point he says, the problem with the deviants is they keep evolving. I created you Eternals to never evolve. And so when the deviant starts absorbing the powers of some of the Eternals, which I called, by the way, when we first saw it heal itself, I was like, oh, it took Ajax's power. Because, yeah, we don't see Ajax, so I figured. And yeah, I was right. So yeah, the deviant, after it absorbs Gilgamesh too, it evolves into, like, partially, like, human. It has human intelligence and all this stuff. It's kind of interesting, actually. I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't see this coming. I wonder where they're gonna go with this. Nowhere. He dies by the end of the film. It's just, you could have cut it out, honestly. It wouldn't have changed much. Yeah, Icarus betrays the team because it turns out he and Ajax knew all along that the Earth was going to be destroyed, and Ajax changed her mind and wanted to save the Earth, but Icarus said no, so he killed her, and then he tried to kill the other Eternals, and there's this really awesome fight scene between him and Makari, this Superman versus Flash shit, which just looks amazing, her bashing into him at all different angles. It reminds me of Injustice 2, Flash versus Superman. It was amazing, and he takes her down, and then Hephaestus takes him down. I liked that. That was cool. And what was interesting is, in the end, he kind of just chooses to stop. And I'm sure some people will have mixed feelings. They'll say, oh, that's lame. I personally found it kind of interesting from a story perspective, because he is in love with Cersei, and he does remember, like, the good experiences they had on Earth together, and so he ends up realizing, like, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this. So he stops, but he also thinks, like, this was my whole purpose, so I don't have a life without this. So he, in true Icarus fashion, flies straight into the sun and kills himself. I wasn't thrilled about that. I thought, that's kind of a lame way to go. But then Wilda told me, well, if you think about it, that is natural for his character, because, he lost his whole purpose. So, like, what is he gonna do now? And I'm like, I guess that makes sense. He's having a mental breakdown, so he's flying into the sun. And it's symbolic because Icarus. Sprite's character, like, I could see they were setting up at the beginning. Sprite is upset that she is stuck in the form of a child and she wants to grow up. And if you think about it, that is pretty tragic. I remember thinking, is this an actual child playing Sprite? Because if so, like, if they ever want to make future movies, how are they going to explain that she would obviously have gotten older at that point? And the movie's on that. They're at the end, they're like, let's make Sprite human so that way she can age. I see what you're doing there. You're trying to get around so that you don't have to so that you because obviously you can't have the girl be the same age in any future films, so if she's older in a future film now, we'll know why. Yeah, I see what you do, and I see right through you, movie. Hephaestus is the gay character, and yeah, he's a good character. What was, couple things, like, Hephaestus gives up on humanity after the Hiroshima bombing, which, yeah, like, I've been to the Hiroshima Museum. It's it's pretty morbid and pretty hard to see just the museum. I can't imagine what actually being there would have been like. But then, like, kind of in the very next scene, he says, I do have hope for humanity again, because I see it in my husband and my son every day. And it's like, oh, I feel like we didn't really do anything with the whole you giving up on humanity thing. But, it's fine. It's not like it breaks the story or anything. Another thing is Druig. I thought Druig was going to be the villain, actually. I thought they were setting that up with, there's an Aztec scene with the Conquistador War versus the Aztecs, where he stops the war and he's like, I won't follow the Celestial anymore. I'm going to find my own path. I can make a difference. I can change things. I thought, he is going to, like, rebel against the Celestial. Maybe he'll be the villain or something. But no, he's not. Again, it just kind of ends, he just kind of ends up rejoining. So again, I feel like we didn't really do anything with that. Yeah, and, what else was I going to talk about? Shoot. Oh yeah, it is cool that they go to Mesopotamia, they go to Babylon, they go to Mexico during the Aztec times. Like, these are very significant, like, mythological times in history. So yeah, they say they went to Athens, but we never see it. They say they're from Olympia, which is an obvious reference to Olympus, but apparently there is no Olympia because the Celestial lied to them. Like, what's funny is the Celestial's been deceiving them all this time, because I guess he knows they would rebel if they know the truth. But then once Circe takes up the mantle of Ajax, he immediately tells her everything. It's like, I wonder does he not suspect that she might not be okay with this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much the Celestial knows, because if the Celestial already knew that Icarus knew, and knew how loyal Icarus was to him, like, maybe he should have just gone to Icarus and told him, hey, Icarus, like, why don't you just pull that thing out of Ajax, and, like, from now on you'll be my, what's the herald? But I don't know exactly how the rules work, so it's not like that's a huge plot hole, it's just something I wonder. Now, I do think that by introducing Celestials and things, I think it means we're going to get Galactus eventually, and that's what I really want. Even though I'm pretty sure they've already established the big bad for this phase is Kang the Conqueror, which is fine. I just really want to see Galactus at some point. Maybe we'll see that in the next phase. Because in order to have Galactus, you have to have the Silver Surfer, and in order to have the Silver Surfer, you kind of have to have the Fantastic Four. So I'm sure they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four first. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about this movie. Yeah, I think I had more to say in non-spoilers than I did in spoilers this time. That's a first. But yeah, overall, yeah, I loved how Kingo, like, is a Bollywood, like, movie guy. That was hilarious. I especially love that scene. It's like, I've directed stuff too. What stuff? Internet stuff. How many views? I don't do it for the views. Just burst out laughing during that. Oh god, yeah. And Karun he's so charming and he's so funny. I especially love the scene where he's, like, filming. Oh god, there are two scenes Wilda straight up called. Like, while Kingo is fighting one of the deviants, like, Wilda just leaned over and said, and then Karun is filming it in the background. And we laughed. And then he was! And we just lost it. We were like, oh my god! Wilda also called the Icarus going into the sun thing. She's like, I'll bet he's gonna die by getting thrown into the sun or something. He technically flew in there himself, but again, she called it. Good for her. Oh, one thing I didn't like that Kingo wasn't in the final battle. Like, they give a reason for it, because these characters all do have their own character. Like, none of them are blindly following each other, except technically Icarus blindly following the Celestial. But yeah, Kingo says, I think the Celestial should be born. I love humanity, but I think it's wrong to stop a Celestial from being born and creating billions of more lives. So, I'm sorry, but I won't fight against the Celestial being born. But I also won't fight any of you, because you're my family. So he just leaves. And I'm like, okay, I guess that does vary up the characters and make things kind of interesting that way. But I also love Kingo, and I like his power. I wanted him to be in the battle. So I was a little let down by that, but what can you do? So yeah, I also, like, I feel like I didn't fully understand how the Unimind worked. I guess the idea was they were all sharing. I thought what it was going to do was it was going to give one of them all of their powers, and they were going to be like a superhero. But I guess it was just they were all enhancing one power. So, okay, I guess that's what was going on. But regardless, I think that's all my thoughts on the movie. What did you guys think of the movie? Do you agree with me? Did you hate the movie? Is there something I'm really missing about it that really made it bad? Are you excited to see Kit Harington be the Black Knight? Was there a character you hated? Did you think the representation was handled well, like I think? Or do you think, like, I'm wrong and there actually were flaws with it? Like, seriously, what do you think? I am curious. A lot of times when I do videos like this, people go into the comments and they tell me things that I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. So it's always fun to interact with you guys. Alright, well, until then, I'm the Mythology Guy. That was a mythology-related movie, and a pretty darn fun one. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.